everybody, Tony, Pressure Washing Depot, located here in Homosassa, Florida. Had a question arose to me that person has a phone call from a customer. They try to call the customer back. The customer's voicemail box is full, or their voicemail has not been set up. What do you do in a situation like that? The longer you've been in business, the more you know that you're gonna deal with customers that they'll call you for a quote, and then you try to call them back and you can't get in contact with them. Next thing you know, you've got a bad review on Google or something other, because they're like, well, they didn't even show up. It's like, yeah, we tried to call, we couldn't get a hold of you, or we showed up, blah blah blah. So one of the ways that we remedied this is when we were setting up our voicemail for our voicemail message, we would actually ask them, hey, can you give us your name, your phone number, and your address, and a brief description of what services you would like for us to provide. That way we would have the name, the point of contact, we would have the phone number, and we would try to get the address. So when we did call them back, if we were faced with that voicemail being full, or the voicemail not even being set up, then we would have an address that we could actually show up at also. So that's just an idea for you. On more occasions than I can count, we would call people back and we couldn't get a hold of them. And you would try to call them for 2 or 3 days, before you're like, I just don't want to call them anymore. But, the moment you don't call them back, they're like, well, they never called me back. I tried to talk to them and they never called me back. And it's not your fault. You're doing everything you could. But, people are brutal creatures. They just don't want to deal with, or they don't want to face the reality. They can possibly be wrong, So there's just an idea for you. Try to get their address, and worst case scenario, if you have to, go to their home. Say, knock on the door and say, hey, I'm Tony with Pressure Washing Depot, blah, blah, blah. You called us for such and such services. I tried to call you back, but your voicemail is full, so I didn't want to leave you hanging, and I want to make sure that we're going to try to provide you with a service. That will mean more than anything to them, and sometimes older generation people, they really don't know how to set up their voicemail. They don't understand that, so I'm not trying to dog them out or anything, but it just happens that way. So there's another idea for you. So if y'all need anything, www.pressurewashingdepot.com. Like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends about us. Appreciate you.